Hi there, welcome to Frugal. Thanks for being here today. My name's Lara, and if it's your first time, welcome and thank you so much for checking out this channel. It's all about budgeting, frugality, living the fullest possible life with less. So today's wee video, it's to do with springtime. It's not the first springtime video that I've done and it won't be the last, but spring is definitely my favourite season, and it's a really perfect season for people who are trying to live a frugal life and budgeting. And cheesy as it sounds, it's the most frugal time of the year. So I really love spring for, well, people talk about spring cleaning for a reason. It feels good to have a bit of a reset and to have a bit of a fresh start and to go through things, declutter, and just reevaluating things, reevaluating priorities and goals and where we want our lives to head. And as we face our futures and whatever lies ahead, seeing beautiful plants around us springing to life, new buds starting to bloom, seeing wee baby animals, and the beautiful cherry blossom, you can't help but feel uplifted, whatever is going on in your life. Seeing these lovely signs from nature, it's heartening and it's so precious, and it's cost nothing to experience these natural miracles around us. So feeling very thankful for that today on this Thankful Thursday. So today I have been focusing on having a bit of a fresh start, been doing some decluttering, had a lovely springtime walk in the rain, it was great, and going to today show you a recipe. Well, it's not a recipe exactly, it's me really just thinking, what do I feel like eating for dinner tonight, and throwing something together, using up stuff from the cupboard and from the freezer. It's not actually something on my menu plan. I made a menu plan for the month, and there is some flexibility in that. So when it's a meal that gets, if I'm making something else where there's enough resources of those ingredients that it's not going to impact other things on the menu, it just means that whatever I would have had tonight is just going to get carried forward to another day, and it will be another day in May now because the rest of April's accounted for with the menu. So today I'm going to show you we've got someone coming now. Bella, you coming over? No, she's decided to perch herself just outside the camera and sit and watch. Little cutie. She's so funny. She's just had a very late lunch. So yes, anyway, sorry. So today I thought I would show you a meal, a quick and easy meal I'm going to throw together just to use up a few ingredients that are in surplus, and it will be enough for tomorrow as well, or the day after's dinner. Just an easy thing to reheat and keep in the fridge. It'll last in the fridge for a few days. So that's the plan. And then I'll have a chat about some decluttering that I've been doing, and also I have a springtime craft to share with you today that costs nothing. It just uses up some scraps and leftovers in the home, and it's just a nice thing for welcoming in spring and welcoming in hopefully better weather. So without further ado, let's get started on the meal. I hope you enjoy. So here is a Bella, and these are going to be the ingredients that go into the meal. So I'm going to do a kind of minestrone soup type thing. So probably going to put a cup of, or 3/4, probably about, because this is quite wide, ouch, this is quite wide at the top, so maybe 3/4 of a cup of the pasta. Some garlic, probably not 4 cloves though. I don't know, I feel like my body's craving some garlic, so and it is more than one portion's worth, so maybe I'll probably just put it in a bit at a time and do it to taste. I'll let you know how many cloves end up being in it. 2 tins of chopped tomatoes, and there'll be stock. Not quite sure how much stock. I think tentatively half a tin of boiled water for stock first. The whole cube, half a tin of boiling water with these 2 tins of tomatoes, and I might add another half a tin's worth of hot water, so it's a whole tin's worth. I'll just kind of do it gradually. I'll let you know at the end. So some seasoning, a teaspoon of curry powder, a level teaspoon, because I do love my curry. So yeah, I just think that would give it a nice warmth and a nice extra flavour boost. Some basil, some onions, some sweet corn, and some chopped carrot. So with the onions, I suppose I could fry them and then put them in, but probably I'm not going to, because if they go in early, they can just cook with the rest of the ingredients while the pasta's, because it will start off with the pasta boiling before adding the other ingredients. So maybe I'll put the onions in quite early on in that process, and that'll cook them. But even if they were slightly raw, then it's probably more nutritious, and I'd welcome the extra vitamins. So I'm gonna start putting things in the pot, and we'll be back to you shortly. So I decided to change the plan a wee bit. So put the pasta in, put a mug worth of the boiled water, and then there's 3/4 of a mug of each of the frozen types of veggies. I've just put them straight in to cook alongside the pasta with the stock cube and with that water. Probably not going to add any more water, because it occurred to me that as the veggies melt, there'll be more water from that, from the ice melting. So that will probably be enough, but later on in the process, once the tomatoes are added, I'll be able to check the consistency then and stuff, see how thick it is and how flavoursome. Add the garlic and the curry powder to taste and seasoning, etc. So I'll be back later in the process to show you that. So it's ready. I added 1 teaspoon of curry powder, 3 cloves of garlic. So it's a very hearty, thick soup. Hang on, I'll swap hands. But I like hearty, thick soups, and it's also a great, any soup with pasta added, like a kind of minestrone style, is a really great frugal meal option, especially for a main meal, because it just bulks it out. And also I've used a lot more veggies to bulk it out as well. Also, tomato and rice soup is really, really delicious. It's tomato, basil and rice soup is a really great simple meal. Again, adding the rice just makes it stretch further, and it's makes it really tasty as well. If you've never tried it, I definitely recommend it. Just gonna grab a spoon. Oh, yeah, that's it back on. Okay, here we go. Time for a taste test. That's lovely. It's really tasty. The onions are slightly undercooked, but as I said earlier, I don't mind. I was actually hoping they would be a bit, because it gives me a bit of extra nutrition. And after having that kind of sinus cold infection thing, a vitamin boost is definitely a positive thing. I think the 2 tins of tomatoes gives it a great consistency, and the flavours are lovely. I'm personally really enjoying the curry added and the garlic. Those are flavours I enjoy a lot, but I mean, by all means, if you're not into those things, just don't put them in. There's so much potential for flavouring here with herbs and spices. Really, just you could make this your own and adapt it however you want. But look at that, it's a decent hearty portion for a meal. It'll be filling and satisfying and very low in calories. No fat really, I don't think. There are carbs from the pasta, but I don't eat carb free. I feel like my body needs some. But this way it's a more measured portion, but bulked up with vegetables. Really delicious, really nutritious, and really budget friendly as well. So there should be 2 to 3 more meals here depending how hungry I am, but definitely a thumbs up. I hope you enjoy it. This is one of my jobs this morning. I'm going to go through all my greetings cards and have a tidy up and a sort out of them, and then see if there's any. There might be some that I know I'm not really going to ever have the opportunity to give, and if so, they can go to the charity shop. So, or if there's lots of them, I could make a bundle of them and sell them on Vinted. And then this is my old address book, but this is sort of based on the people who were in my life 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago even. So I'm needing to kind of have a refresh and an update of that, because people move in and out of our lives, and so just to kind of get that all up to date, I bought this on Vinted for £1. And it was part of a bundle because you could factor in the seller fee, buyer protection fee, I mean. Buyer protection fee is what I'm trying to say, plus the postage. But the seller had other stuff for sale. So this was a few months ago, but they had some other things for sale that were on my wish list. So there was a bundle with a bunch of different things, but this was part of it, and it was only £1, which, as I say, which I just think is pretty amazing. It's beautiful quality. It's got lots of lovely pictures inside, and it's split, so addresses, birthdays, events, Christmas cards. So I can consolidate everything into this now. And I mean, I know I could have some kind of digital thing, but I prefer to have a paper-based thing. And I just think it's very sweet. So I'm going to update my info into there. So that will be good. So today is also me carrying on with decluttering and going through some clothes, deciding what to keep and what not to keep. So there have been some listings put on for eBay and Vinted of some unwanted items. I've also got this bag of clothes here that I've gone through, so they will get listed at some point soon too. And there's 1 or 2 things that will go to the swap shop next time I'm up that way, and they can be swapped for other items in the future. So that'll be a nice trip to look forward to at some point. So yeah, it's been mainly clothes and some electrical items that I've gone through, and just going to work on different zones of my home over the coming weeks, just a bit here and there. But these, I love vintage and retro things, and that includes certain vintage and retro toys that are really nostalgic. And these aren't actually nostalgic as such. They came out in 1979, which is before I was born by a wee bit. But I'm in a dilemma whether to keep them or not. I think at the moment I'm going to keep them. I just don't know where to display them, and I can't decide whether to keep them or not. Yeah, as I say, for now they'll stay. I actually got them last year. I had some birthday spending money for my 40th, and I got them from Japan. They're not actually Japanese though, but there are places there that have some really great vintage and retro toys from all over the world. There are people who, in the kind of otaku culture, who are really interested in that kind of stuff too. So that's how I came across them, and they're so funny. So as a child, I was not a girly girl at all. I was a complete tomboy, and I didn't ever have a doll. I think once I was given a second-hand doll by someone that I didn't play with and I didn't like it, and I don't know who, whether it was my brother, but eventually found it and its head had come off. And I was not the least bit bothered about this because it wasn't a toy I ever played with. I think he had an Action Man that got stuck up a tree, if I remember right. And I think, did the doll that's head came off also accidentally get put in a sink with bleach or something? I seem to remember. Anyway, it didn't get played with. And I've never liked dolls. I've never been interested in dolls. I've always loved things to do with animals and strange mythical creatures and that kind of thing. So when I came across these, I just thought they were so sweet. And they're just so funny and quirky. So yeah, let me show you. So the first one, they're called Gorgeous Creatures. They're by Mattel, which was a really, really popular toy brand back in the I think the 90s too, but late 70s, 80s for sure. And she definitely looks as if she's been based on Miss Piggy from the Muppets. I don't know who came first. Bit of a chicken and an egg situation here. I think maybe Miss Piggy came first. If this Princess Pig, if she came after Miss Piggy, that was probably quite controversial, but I don't know. Haven't looked into the history or anything, but I was able to come across the whole set in box, complete in box. They've got all their parts. So this is Princess Pig's boyfriend. And there's like different accessories and things inside. Look at that. Loves Snacks Fifth Avenue instead of Saks Fifth Avenue. How funny. So that's her. And then I managed to find all four. So I have the complete set. So there was Cowbell. Cowbell has a creamy complexion. There you go. But yeah, I was never a fan of dolls, but I think these are quite sweet, and I like the fact that they're anthropomorphic creatures, because as you can tell from the vegetables in the kitchen, if you've seen them in the background from my videos, yeah, the kind of anthropomorphic creatures thing appeals to me in my imagination. Miss Heavenly Hippo, pretty as a picture. And finally, Miss Giddy Up is a real clothes horse. So, as I say, dolls, I have zero interest in dolls, but when it's really wacky, quirky 70s anthropomorphic animal ones, they're just so unique and so fun. Still swithering whether to keep them or not, so I think for now I will, and I'll try and figure out where they could live. When I do eventually make a decision and or display them, I will let you know. Hi, okay, right, now on to the final thing that I was going to share with you today, which is a Frugal springtime craft. It costs absolutely nothing, but it's a really nice idea for something to do that's kind of uplifting for springtime. So I'll show you the first one that I ever came across. It was a gift from a friend and colleague in Japan, speaking of Japan still. And it used to be in a picture frame, but I'm gonna reframe it at some point. So this is called Tera Tera Bozu. It's a sort of charm that you hang, and it's to try and bring the good weather. It's a kind of good luck charm for fair weather. And they're really cute. So you see them all over Japan. People buy, there are things that you can buy in the shrines, some of the shrines. Well, all of the shrines sell omamori. Omamori look like this, but this is actually a pet omamori. So, hold on, can you see that? Yeah. So it's peto omamori. So this is bought, and it has a prayer for in this case my pet, but she doesn't wear a collar, so I've just got it hanging up for her. So in the weather shrines, there are some shrines that are specific. Whoa, Bella, speaking of Petto, come here. Speaking of Bella, she's just shook the camera, sorry. So there are different kind of themes for certain shrines. So you can actually find weather shrines where you can buy omamori that are for prayers for the weather. And you can also buy things like the Tera Tera Bozu charms, and it's like kind of lucky dip ones. So certain colours symbolise certain things. I can't remember what the pink symbolised, but it was something to do with good weather and good fortune, thankfully. So, and you can also, in shops, you can buy little hanging charms. So that's a Momo peach related one for Okayama area. And this is an olive one, which is related to Shidoshima, where I went, which is the olive island. So yeah, so I'm going to show you today how to make a Tera Tera Bozu, a hanging Tera Tera Bozu. As you can see, it can even be done with toilet roll or kitchen roll. So what I've decided to use is my sister-in-law's mum gave me some napkins, and there's 5. So I've kept the ones that match. The blue was the odd colour out. So I've cut it into quarters, ironed the 3 that I'm going to use. They're cut into quarters. And she also gave me these hanging things. So it's, I have a hanging thing that's a crystal, but this isn't a crystal, but they're actually really handy because the items that you would need to make this are some sort of fabric, or even, I mean, toilet roll can be used, but it's not as durable. So some kind of square of fabric and some ribbon and something to stuff it and something to tie it. So there's plenty of stuff in here from my craft supplies, but I was thinking that since this is already pre-made with the ribbon, it's actually really, really handy. So my plan for this, and you could probably use a similar technique for cutting for the ribbon, is I'm just going to make, I've folded it, so I've just diagonally folded twice, and then I'm going to just cut a tiny little hole. It's not quite as tiny a hole as I would have liked, but there's a hole there, and then I'm just going to feed this through, and then I can put that pearl bit over it, which is good. And then now, there wouldn't normally be a big plastic bead on the end. I suppose you could do that though. You could have a ribbon where you tie a bead on. So I've put that in the middle, not too much, just make it as tight as possible. And I mean, this is a very amateur type of Tera Tera Bozu, but I thought I might make a few and hang them up at the allotment. So next time I'm down there, I'll show you them in the shed. And then I've meant to show you this, but this is just a cable tie. I had some spare cable ties. You could use ribbon or an elastic band or something like that. Oh, sorry, my arm's really sore and stiff, but it's all good exercise for it. And then, right, I'm going to make it a bit tighter back in a second. Okay, so I ended up redoing the top bit again with this. You have to really gather and pull as tight as you can, and this hole is too big at the top, but that was my practice one. I'm going to make 2 more, and then I'll be back and I'll show you those. But yes, it's very amateur compared to the shop bought ones, but it's lovely, just a wee fun springtime activity to do. It's a really family friendly activity. I've just realised I'm looking over at the wrong side of the phone. You're here, hello. That's so funny. I don't know why I've got my phone the opposite way. It'll be upside down and I'll have to rotate the picture. But yes, anyway, sorry, where was I? So it's quite, you know, it's quite amateur looking compared to the shop bought ones is what I was saying, but I'm sure you can do it to look a lot better than this, and it's fun, it's completely free, you can just use leftover scraps that you've got at home, and it's a really fun family friendly thing. Kids would love this, and you could use all different beautiful patterns of fabric, or you could have a piece of plain cloth and use markers and decorate your own design on it. So yeah, it's a great frugal activity. If you're a teacher, it would be a great thing to do with your kids. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching today. It's really been lovely to have you here, and see you next time. Have a great week and weekend, and take care. Bye.